Rose just needed help with her fibromyalgia. Finally, she got somebody to listen and somebody to help.
Well, I'm Rose, and I've had fibromyalgia symptoms since I was about 15. I started playing volleyball and softball when I got to high school, and at batting practice one day, my hand just stopped working. So I went to an orthopedist, and he said, I think it's just acute myositis, you should be fine. He put me on pain meds and a muscle relaxer, and the next thing I knew, my whole body was doing the same thing. And since then, it's just progressed to not being able to function on a daily basis, which has led to severe depression. And a few months ago, it even got to the point of suicidal thoughts and tendencies. And, thankfully, I had friends who were there to be with me and keep me from being alone, and lots of people praying for me. And so that helped, but I still just am not where I want to be as far as getting things done on a daily basis.
Right. They gave what you had finally a name, didn't they?
Yes, they diagnosed me with fibromyalgia and along with that chronic fatigue syndrome.
Right. So, and what have you done since that time as far as drugs or medication or anything?
I've been on a number of narcotics to deal with the pain. At one point I was seeing a GI as well as a rheumatologist, and they both had me on pain medications and muscle relaxers, and I ended up with serotonin syndrome. At that point, I decided I wanted to come off everything because clearly my body didn't like something that I was doing. So we went back to the rheumatologist, and she said, okay, well, let's try to treat it long term. So we looked at Lyrica and a couple of other options, and I finally settled on gabapentin. And I was also on Cymbalta for sleep. And I've done a couple of other alternatives for sleep and depression in the meantime as well.
How many drugs have you been on?
Oh, I've lost track. I think for chronic treatments, I think I've been on about half a dozen.
Right. How many doctors have you seen, you think?
Probably about the same, half a dozen.
Very good. Okay, so you came to this winter wellness thing. So you want to explain where you're at and what you've done and what's happened?
Yeah, I used to use massage, so I knew a little bit about meridian flow and how that can help open up the passageways in the body and make it communicate correctly. But it was also a treatment that had to be done once or twice a week to keep my body functioning properly. So I was really excited at the possibility that you could make that all turn on and stay on.
Right.
So yeah, that's a treatment that I've had. I tried acupuncture and it actually made me worse. Something just didn't jive with the way that treatment went. And my masseuse would use acupressure as well as traditional deep tissue massage, and my muscles would just go back to the way they were beforehand. So those were the primary treatments aside from the standard physical therapy that a rheumatologist ordered.
Right. So you came, I'm going to ask you to say the name of the clinic you came to call this place. And
sure.
what you did, what happened.
So I came to a wellness day at the Winter Wellness Center, and Dr. Winter explained how pressure on the neurological pathways can keep the bodies from it can keep the muscles from functioning the way they're supposed to because of pressure on the nerves that communicate with those muscles. And he showed me how relieving that pressure could allow my muscles to function properly, and so that made a lot of sense to me. So
you tried that, so what happened?
Well, after the first treatment, my whole body felt lighter. I was able to stand straight for the first time in as long as I can remember. My hips weren't tilted, my shoulder wasn't dropped like it had been before. I felt like I could actually hold my head up without struggling to stay upright.
Good. You slept a little better last night?
I slept a lot better last night.
Right. If you don't mind, we're going to follow you for the next month.
Sure.
Okay? So would you tell them this? So just stay tuned and I'll tell you show you my progress.
Sure, yeah. I would love to follow my progress and share my story and have anyone else who has the same symptoms I do feel like there's hope.
If you need a doctor to listen and then help, call Dr. Winter, 770-536-6600.